Hello, Professor Sherko.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, good. Ramadan Kareem.
To you too. Thank you.
Yeah, Ramadan Kareem to everybody.
Thank you, Doctor. To you too.
Ramadan Mubarak to everybody.
Thank you, Dr. Shimal.
Thank you, Dr. Shaymal.
Okay, so I don't know if all of the speakers are here. I'm gonna check, and after that we can begin.
We can wait a few minutes. I mean, after 5 minutes, then we can start. We have around 46 participants at the moment.
Yeah, and they're increasing slowly, so hopefully
Yeah. So let's just wait a little bit
Okay,
more.
sure.
Yeah. Hi, Nov. How are you? Nice to see you always.
Hi, Dr. Sharko. It's nice to see you too. How are you?
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
No, I'm not going to ask you anymore because you're going to tell us what you're doing.
Definitely.
Okay, good, good. We really appreciate your time. Everybody who participated. I don't know who else is participating. Yes. It seems you are more popular than our faculty members. No, we normally get around 40 students. Now it's past 49. So
I mean, honestly, I don't know. I don't think so. I think it's just how everyone's going to graduate this year. Everyone's just confused.
Yeah. It's a challenging time to graduate with these COVID-19 circumstances. But hopefully things will get better soon. And life is nice when it's challenging, when you challenge things.
Not with COVID.
Yeah, not with COVID. Yeah, but I think with the globalization, long time ago, most of us somehow predicted this kind of epidemics, the rapid spread of viruses. Yeah, I mean, viruses has always been lived with us. So what is different is that we are so interconnected that makes it much easier for the virus to spread, and that's the problem, and that's what we study. So we have Khalid, who I know also, and who else is here?
Should we begin? Okay. I think it's already recording. So I'll just start. Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for being here with us. I'm actually happy that I attended this one. I couldn't attend the last one, so I'm happy to be participating here, and I'm happy to see that there is an increase in participation and attendees and everything. And I hope you guys enjoy today's event. So today we're gonna have guest speakers, but it's gonna be a little more unique because these speakers are former students from our department. And I think that's really interesting because they what we're gonna be discussing today is what life is like after graduation. So we have a couple of speakers who are going to talk to us about their personal experiences of their life after they graduated from the IR department in University of Sharjah. Hopefully we can all benefit from what they have to say to us and all of the advice that they're going to give us and their personal experiences, and maybe it helps us sort of shape what we want our life to look like, after we graduate, or help us, avoid certain obstacles. So without further ado, Professor Shirko, is there anything you would like to begin with before we begin?
No, I just would like to thank you for organizing this. I mean, all the people who involved in Hala, Dr. Shimal, Asma, I mean, I don't know, you and the rest of the IR Society executive members, Hadil, Hamail, Sheikha, Salim, everybody. Thank you, and the ones that I forgot their names.
Okay, so I'd like to introduce Fatma Maryam, who was a graduate from our department, to begin speaking if she's ready.
Hi, everyone. Is my audio okay, first of all?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, Dr. Sharko and Noah Freeman. Really nice to see all of you. And Freeman, thank you so much for not giving me the heads up that I'm going first. I saw Noah on screen and I was like, she's going first. Anyway, so thank you so much for inviting me, even though when Reeman reached out, she said that she thought that I had an interesting story to say or something like that. I was so confused as to what she was talking about. But I'm really, really glad to be here. It's always nice to see everyone. And just to give some background on myself, my name is Fatma Maryam, and I'm currently working as an inclusion and diversity training developer at PwC in the Middle East office. And to be honest, when I graduated last year, so that's the first batch to graduate after the COVID pandemic. And when I was reached out for this, I actually really struggled because I did not know how to strike the balance between giving something that would make you feel optimistic, but at the same time, like keeping realistic and true to the experience that I've had. But at the same time, I feel like no matter how much I try to generalize, everyone goes through very different, very unique journeys and trajectories after they graduate. And that comes down to so many. It comes down to the time that you end up graduating, the opportunities that exist, and sometimes like even very personal circumstances like financial, social, cultural. And if last year has shown us anything, it also showed us that sometimes it's things completely out of our control, never anticipated, that can have a control over what life after graduation will look like. And I guess that being international relations students, I guess, is that even when we're studying, we're extremely exposed to and aware of the fact that very big and global occurrences have effects on our tiny little lives. And it's kind of humbling. And to be honest, like a few months ago, if I was reached out to speak about this, I would not be speaking so calmly. But then I guess there's like growth from everything that's to be gained. So I just want to touch upon, I guess, my experience since graduation. And I'll just maybe speak about like what I felt like before I actually got a job that I'm happy with, and like what it was like. So before I got the job, like I'm not going to pretend like, it was easy, but I do want to say that it's not that it was just because it was COVID-19 that it was hard to find a job. It was also because of the field that we're in. So the kind of field that we're in, which is international relations, like it's not as easy as like other fields like business and marketing and things like human resources or things like that to find a job. It is considerably hard to make it in this field. And especially in the region, this field is quite new. But at the same time, COVID kind of gave an explanation. Like if family members asked me, like, why is it taking you forever to find a job? Like, it would always be like, yeah, but I graduated in a pandemic. And there was also the fact that you find all these posts on LinkedIn, like of people going like, yeah, students who graduated in the pandemic, they're so resilient, they're this, that. But then, there was nothing out there to actually help us. Just people saying that we're resilient and people saying that, we're strong and this and that, and, we're going to make it and so on. And, emails flooded with rejections, and just, it was tough. And it's also tough that most of the time, even entry-level jobs have requirements of like 5 years experience or 6 years experience, or you should have this, that, you should have a master's and so on. So it was hard, but I think the thing that helped me most, which I realized after a while, was that I can't make my job hunting the only thing about my life. Like I can't make that be a full-time job in itself. So I started kind of doing this thing where I would only do that for like 1 hour a day, or like, once like in 2 days, or I would like devote a certain amount of time to that. And then I would not do anything after that. Like I would limit the time I check my email, because I'm like a toxic email checker sometimes when I'm applying for something. And these applications, they can get so exhausting. So I was just like, I'm going to do this for 1 hour a day. After that, I'm just going to do whatever I want to do. Like I'm going to cherish the free time that I have before I get swallowed by a job. So that's what I did. And it took a while, but the best part about those years right after you graduate is that you can experiment. No one's going to judge you for being an intern or being doing like whatever is available. I would say to go for it, because there's a lot of value in just staying productive and engaged. Like I thought I would never do an unpaid internship, but I ended up doing an unpaid internship because I was like, I would much rather do that than do nothing. So I just tried to engage through that, or workshops, or whatever it is that I could find. And after I found the job, I want to say like it ended there. But once you find a new job, I don't know if those who are working like Nof and others on the call like Alia would relate, but for me personally, when I started working, my imposter syndrome ran very high. Like, just like, what am I doing here? They're just gonna catch me and like be like, you are, not meant to be here. I don't know what mistake we made in hiring you. And it was just every single day I would, and I would just be like, they're so much better than me. Like twice as fast, thrice as better. Like, why am I here? And a lot of that comes from the fact that we spend years in university where we're at the same level somewhat with people. And then you go into like a work environment where, for instance, in my team, I'm the only entry level person. And then there's like a manager, a senior manager, a director, and a partner. So I'm just looking at these people. And I remember once telling my manager, I was like, you can do this so much faster than I can. So am I not holding the team back? And sweetheart, if I couldn't do this, like thrice as fast as you can, then I should get fired, because I have 10 years of experience backing me up. So it was just these types of kind of moments. And I want to say, for me personally, the first few months of working were some of the hardest months. And even till date, I actually struggle with seeing any value in my work. And the only thing that helps me is in our organization, we have women at very senior positions who come out and speak about imposter. So we have the chief people officer who came and said, even to this date, when I get a promotion, I'm wondering why they're offering me this promotion. So that was one of the things that I struggled with. And I want to say that in terms of any advice that I can give to conclude this, don't have a fixed mindset in terms of what you're going to look for. What I thought I was going to do when I was graduating is not what I ended up doing. And, I know we all have job, like something that we hope that we get to a place where we can work like that, but don't miss out on the opportunities that come in the way, because there's a lot to be learned from that so that you can be good at your dream job. So just have a very open mindset. Like when I was giving interviews, people like my employers or interviewers would ask me like, what are you looking forward? And I said, you know what, I just graduated. I'm in the middle of a pandemic. Right now, I'm open to anything as long as I'm engaged. So this was always what I said, because I couldn't be like, oh, you know what? I'm so interested in post-migration. This is the only thing I'm going to work on, and everything else can go. Like I could not afford to be that way. So just be open to everything, because there's a lot of value in that. And secondly, I was one of those people who, when I would follow up, or like after interviews, like after I give an interview, if I follow up through email, or even when I'm reaching out to people on LinkedIn, I was so embarrassed, and I genuinely don't know why. Like I would always be like, I'm so sorry to follow up. Like I don't know why I did that. Like you're actually offering your value and your labor to people out there. You're going to add value to the company. So don't be embarrassed to follow up. Like even if you have to follow up 10 times, do it, but not like in a desperate way. Obviously, in a way that is still professional and still, you seem like someone who would add value to their company. Just follow up. And thirdly, and the last thing that I would like to say is, just please be kind to yourself and don't lose yourself in the process of post-graduation life anxieties. Like there is a lot of exciting things out there. It's just a matter of time. Don't look at the next person who you can find and think, oh, this person also graduated in the pandemic and they figured out everything, so it must be me, I must be doing something wrong. Or just don't be harsh on yourself, because like I said earlier, it's a lot of things that play on this life after grad. A lot of forces are acting on it. And don't make your professional life or your work or your further studies be the defining thing about you. Like it is a part of your life, and I hope we all get fulfillment from that, but it shouldn't be the only thing about you. And just enjoy yourself, and cherish the free time before you get swallowed up by whatever it is that comes your way. Check on your friends. Please check on your friends. I remember when we graduated, because we were all graduating in a pandemic, we were all so scared to check on each other. Like I remember even with my close friends in uni, we were like, oh, I don't want to check on her, because like, what if she's really struggling with like a rejection email or with an interview that didn't go well? And we all just isolated ourselves. Like, I don't know why we did that. We had conversations and realized that we should have all just talked to each other, because we were eventually going through the same things. Help each other out with connections, with places that you know are hiring, with programs that you think would benefit your friend, and just take care of yourself and take care of each other. So I'd like to say thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Fatma. And I was right when I said that you do have something like personal and very unique to share with us. I think something that you addressed that really struck chord with me is vulnerability, because we're all going through the same experience and the same fear. And as hard as it is for us to admit it, or admit it in front of other people, it should be something that's like addressed, because in the end, we all benefit from being there for each other rather than just like working against each other. Thank you so much. So for our next speaker, we have Noof Al-Awadi. So I think she's ready to talk about her story or her experience.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me again. Riman, thank you for reaching out. It's so nice to be back here. I don't really know much of you guys. I graduated back in 2018, before the whole pandemic strike and everything. So life was easy, not exactly easy, but it was a lot smoother than this. Like, Fatma, I'm so sorry you graduated during that time. I understand the economic struggle. Like, everything was just a mess. I mean, I'm really sorry for your batch. But one thing they don't tell you about life post-graduation is that it's not a straight line. It's not a straight pathway. It's left, right, up and down. You might meet some elephants on the way, so you really don't know what's going to happen. I mean, that was it for me, at least. As soon as I graduated, I think I spoke about this before as well. I worked in media production, photography. I did some really interesting social media ads on plastic surgery and just all of that, like lipo stuff. So it was a very weird time for me. And after that, I decided to go work in a bank. And me being someone who's really not that good at math, I thought they were joking when they said that they accepted me, but apparently they were serious. So I just went for it. And at the same time, I was applying to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Bahrain. I forgot to mention this actually. I currently work at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Bahrain as a diplomatic attaché. But right now, I'm seconded in the Emirates Diplomatic Academy as the first international student doing my postgraduate degree. And currently, I'm in Abu Dhabi. Last time I spoke to you guys, I was in Bahrain, but now I've moved back. So basically, what I want to tell you guys is that it's not easy. Graduating is really not easy. Like, you're going to have a lot of ups and downs. You're going to have a lot of self-doubts. You're going to wonder, what am I actually doing? And especially with our major, like there's always the assumption that international relations means that you're going to be a diplomat or you're going to be a politician. Not exactly. A lot of places actually benefit from international relations, like journalism, newspapers, magazines, everywhere can actually benefit from us because of because of the level of knowledge that we have. Like we're really good at writing, we're really amazing at reading, analyzing, problem solving. This is something that we need to understand as well. Like when I got accepted to the job for advertising, I asked them, I was like, why? They said that you have reading and writing as a skill, so you could actually have that creative energy in you, which is true. It was a very interesting experience, but honestly, never again. I'm glad I found my way back. But after you graduate, just stop doubting yourself. Just go for whatever you want to go for. Like, it's not necessary that you go into politics or you go into the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Like, I absolutely encourage you to do that, because representing your country is like really the best thing that you can do, and be a diplomat. But at the same time, if you feel like you have other passions, go ahead. And the imposter syndrome, especially for women, it does hit. Like, it's been almost a year or so that I've been in MOFA, and sometimes I wonder, I'm like, what am I doing? But then I ground myself and I remind myself that I'm actually good at what I do, even though I kind of have no idea what I'm doing. But we're getting there. We're getting there. So, and do a lot of internships, paid or unpaid. Get that experience so that you can make your way to your career. If you want to go for a postgraduate degree, go ahead, do it, because you have to find something that makes you stand out, no matter what it is. You could be good at, I don't know, maybe writing a really long article, or like writing in a journal, or whatever. So if you're good at that, just pick at it and keep going, because it's not a straight line. So I guess that's all I have to say. That's the best advice I can give you, is just go for it. Put yourself out there. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Noof. And here's a thumbs up from Dr. Sherko. I I noticed something between like this, like some similarity between your what you had to say and Fatma, where you guys were both you both encouraged the idea of like going after any opportunity that comes your way. You never know if it's going to benefit you or not, and you never sort of lose anything from trying something new. Whether you like it or not, you can either move on with it or move into something else. So thank you so much for sharing your experience. And now we have Ali Al Ali. I think she's here and she's ready to speak, hopefully. Alia?
Yes.
Yeah.
So first of all, thank you, everyone. I'm so glad to see many familiar faces. No Fatma. And I'll jump into my, let's say, speaking in both English and Arabic, just for personal preference, let's say. So I'll start a bit in English, and then I'll start as well in Arabic. I'll try to fuse both, just to try and reflect the both ways of my preference. So I graduated last year in 2019. And after graduation, I've joined an academic training program that was in Scotland, in Al Maktoum College. And I came back to the just a month after my graduation. So I had like graduated in Jan, and then I joined the program. And then I was back by end of March, let's say. So I started the hunting campaign, I would say, of a job, and having that dilemma between, let's say, reality versus expectations. And it was a bit tough on me. And I ended up applying for jobs that I've never ever expected that I would apply for, organization that I've never heard about. And I never expected that I would end up joining a private sector, and specifically banking sector. So when I started my journey, it wasn't something that that at the beginning I had so much of fears, endless questions. How will I fit into such a huge organization? How will my study support such line of business? What skills should I have? Will I be able to do this? And during my working days, honestly speaking, how many of you have like such wonders or fears at such stage or later on? So first, let me speak in specific about my graduation. So I had a very tough days treating Alia as if everything was created and made based on my wish. I graduated with the highest honors, had my internships and academic trainings abroad, and have worked so hard on myself to represent the best Alia I could be. The reality wasn't as easy as I imagined. Competition was there. Wasta was all over, more than I ever expected. Um, um, me being very impatient is still here. I'm still very impatient. I was a few steps away from depression, even though my time staying at home was not more than 4 to 5 months, let's say. And I ended up in HSBC. It was the only place that I would never forget on how they interviewed me. I remember leaving the tower and giving my mom a call, and I told her it took this long, but I'm happy they valued me as a human being. Second was the idea of my character change. I was a very serious person as a young lady. All I loved is formal outfits, black and black abayas. I carried myself with lots of do's and don'ts, lots of protocols and guidelines, as if life was a geometric piece of art. I used to always sit on the same seat at the first row in each and every class at uni. My friend and all my professors knew that, and they knew that all I want to set is A plus, A plus, A plus at each and every semester. Everything I wanted should end up exactly as I imagined, or else a chaos would erupt. But things changed. When I came into HSBC, I became very lighter. I became more disciplined. I have learned that normal, healthy growing simply requires time, which is the normal procedure or the normal moral process of enlightenment and development. Everything beautiful, worth waiting, hardships, and you know the rest. I learned that being a role will never stop you from whatever you like. It's you and how smart do you represent yourself and approach your goals. How will you motivate a leader to include, how would you motivate yourself and your leaders to be included in a project X? How will you convince them to initiate this, and so on and so forth. Now I will quickly jump into 5 conclusions that I came across and have learned by myself. First of all is yes, I can, was a statement that I always said, no matter how the thing was bulky, I always end up with yes, I will try, I will read, I would come back and something seeking feedbacks and improvements. This definitely opened up more and more projects, more and more opportunities, more and more rooms for growth, development, and so on and so forth. Second is whenever I hear Alia join this project or join this meeting or join this initiative, whether it's something related to work, whether it's something related to a social group or a volunteering group, or just a group of people or friends coming up together to just deliver an initiative, let's say, I would say, okay, I would join. At the beginning, I used to feel irrelevant to some meetings or some offers, but it was my manager, one second, okay, sorry. Okay, it was my manager, it was my mentors who would encourage me to go ahead, take part of this and so on, as this would increase your connectivity. It could open up more and more room for learnings, experience, and so on and so forth. Research. Okay, so research is very crucial, not only for in academia, even when you join any sort of sector, definitely you would need research. Always read, back up your opinion with facts and studies. Don't be a person who will just speak to mark his presence in a meeting, but a person who would add value and energy to the room. I remember when we had a global induction, which is basically more like a conference where we had all the graduates from HSBC coming together in London, and it was a global graduate induction. And I was so lucky to have asked 3 questions, and the type of questions were constructed based on listening, research, and representing not only the HSBC as an organization, but as well as UAE and Dubai in specific as a market. many used to approach asking me whether I spent the whole night reading and preparing, but it was a quick scroll into Mr. Google for 5 to 10 minutes before I talk. Be you and unmute your voice. For my first week, I sat in a team meeting where my manager used to ask me, Alia, do you have anything to add, anything to add? I used to keep quiet. And I remember I gave a response saying, trying to fit in. And then the response was, you don't need to try to fit in. The fact that you're sitting on this table proves that you're fit in the culture of this organization. And I always had this feedback or let's say a conversation between me and my mentor saying, telling them I'm so passionate. I feel like senior leaders won't take me seriously, having my energy and the way I speak, and I'm very spontaneous, I'm very simple, adi. I'm very, very easy person. So I used to say, this is not towards professionalism. So they'll be like, no, we need fresh minds. We need fresh insights, fresh ideas, and so on and so forth. So just be you, don't pretend, don't act like a CEO because you're not there yet. This is the time for you to be yourself, be whoever you are. If you have an idea, speak out, and so on. At the end, I would end up by something that I learned very lately. And I would quote her Excellency Sham al-Mazrou'i, the Minister of the Youth. And on celebrating Emirati Women's Day, she spoke about love and unconditional love. And she defined love not as a noun, but as a verb, saying, how can we love ourselves unconditionally? How can I enjoy myself being Alia? I'm depressed, I'm disappointed, things didn't work out, and so on and so forth. When you people love yourself the way you are, you accept that, okay, this time is COVID, maybe I won't find the internship, maybe I won't find my dream job, maybe I won't find this and that and this and that. I don't know, whatever goes in your mind. But regardless, when you practice love towards yourself with the darkest side in yourself and the brightest side of yourself, you would learn and you would enjoy and you would embrace your difference. And I think that's the whole moral or the whole message of being different, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created everyone different, created everyone to complement each other towards the best for all. So this is me in a nutshell. I hope I didn't bore anyone, and I'm happy to address any questions in specifically if you want to know more about my sector, banking sector, why did I go there, how am I working. I know I didn't touch upon my graduate program and the role that I'm contributing to, but I'm happy to address if that's something that you guys want to know more about. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Adia. So much. I love how you had such a unique take on your experience through the emotional aspect of it and how you felt and your personal journey through your experiences and how other people treated you as well. I think that's also something that other people touched on, but I like the way that you focused on it. So thank you so much for your contribution. So I guess this is the end of our speaker list for today. I see that a lot of people in the comment section, a couple of people wanted to ask questions. So if you guys would like, we would move on to the Q&A session. If you want, you can, I don't think you can raise your hand. I think you can raise your hand, right? Yeah, raise your hand and I'll invite you one by one to speak. Or if you don't feel comfortable, you can type in your question and I'll read it out to you. Oh, we already have a question. So Mariam Al-Khouri, if you want, you can start asking your question.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for this amazing event. It's actually very nice, and I've learned a lot of things from you guys, and thank you so much. I just have a question to Noof. She said that she's working in the foreign affairs in Bahrain before, and now she's in Abu Dhabi. So I just have a question. Is it hard being abroad, and was it difficult for you? Because honestly, I'm aiming, hopefully, inshallah, when I graduate, I would like to go to foreign affairs, but I want to be outside of the country.
I just received a message from Noof telling me she had to leave for an emergency meeting. So I sincerely apologize, but I just got them.
It's okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah, don't worry about it. I'm sorry. Does anyone have any questions? I think there is Hassa afterwards.
Yes.
I also have a question later on, Rahman, please.
Yes, okay, sure, sure. Go on, Hassa.
I hope you are doing well. So I have a question toward Alia. Alia, how was your experience when you went to Scotland? Tell me about any difficulties that maybe you faced while you were studying abroad, or like what are the advantages that you gained from this experience actually?
Okay, so shukran ya Hassa. I'll tell you a bit about the program. So it wasn't my first experience being abroad or undergoing any kind of program. So I had my internship abroad. So I had the normal internship that you guys go for in London, our embassy in London. So I spent there 5 weeks, and this was my first experience abroad, specifically in the embassy. And then after graduation, I went for the ATP, which is the academic training program. And it's the university, we apply to this program, and then the university shortlists students based on their performance, their English communication skills, and so on and so forth. And then it's like 1 month of condensed training in Al Maktoum College, where they cover multiculturalism, they cover leadership, and such topics. So it was a month of training. And the nice aspect of this program is that it includes people who get enrolled in such a program are people from the UAE university. So it's multiple university across UAE, including as well people from Cairo and people from Malaysia. So it's a program tailored for all female students, and it was like interesting. It was like a campus where we go attend some lectures, there were some workshops. So I find it nice. It wasn't very challenging for us as international relations, me and my colleague, but I find that some of the other students were like a bit irritated when we speak about specific ideologies, specific sort of theories that we already know from our political science studies. But for them, they didn't agree with it. Why do we speak about this? Why are we touching upon such topics? So I find it like that. But any obstacles? Not other than this, no. That was all that I can say. But if you want to know, like, what obstacles do you find if you go and study abroad? I experienced it when I was in the global graduate induction. I started eating my words. Okay, so the culture-wise. So I'm a hijabi. Okay, number one, I'm a Muslim. Culture-wise, I don't shake hands with males. So when I was in the global graduate induction, people were a bit disrupted with the idea that apologies, I don't shake hands, or so these sort of things. I think this requires more awareness for them, because being unfamiliar, and then you would expect people to be like open and being easygoing. It has nothing towards culture and these kind of beliefs, So this was one obstacle. And I remember I sat with a table with a group who I apologized from day one, saying, apologies, I don't shake hands. And then the entire week they were just avoiding me. They don't look into my eyes. And it was like horrible. And then towards the few last days, they started changing. They said, she's smart, she's bright, she contributes, I speak, I joke, I'm fine. I just don't shake hands. So it's very easy, simple thing. But it was something good that I raised awareness around this thing. So yes.
Okay, thank you so much, Alia. So we have, I think we should host Dr. Abdulrahman's question.
Okay. Ramadan Kareem, everybody. I'm very delighted to see our former students here. I'm really delighted. And my question relates to those set of skills that you learned while you were a student and that benefited you after you graduate, whether in hunting for jobs or on the job if you have got employment. I'm talking about skills like positive self-talk, maybe stress management skills, communication skills, active listening skills, self-motivation skills. There are so many skills that you may have practiced while you were a student. So please tell us with examples if you practice any one of those skills that I mentioned or others. I think that would be useful, not only to students, but also to people like me, because I'm supposed, to talk about those skills, in the future. And it will be really useful to hear you, people who graduated and who practice those skills. Okay, so I will be glad if you can talk on that, please. My question is not directed to any person, but in general, any one of those students who graduated and came across those skills would be, welcome. Thank you.
So what this means is that it's either directed at Alia and Fatma. So you can both take turns speaking if you want to respond to Dr. Abdurrahman's question.
Okay, I'll just say something very briefly. I think it's very related to what Alia said as well. I think one of the skills, specifically as international relations students, which is very useful, is that you can't just be saying things if it's not true. Like you can't say it, like she even mentioned it, like, don't say things unless you know for a fact that it's backed by research or it's backed by like stats or whatever it is. You know what? In a way, you can kind of get away with this in uni, because sometimes, like when we have discussions and things like that, like I don't know how it is now, but I remember back when I was in uni, when we would have debates and discussions in class, it would get so like passionate, and in the heat of the moment, people would just say anything. But in the real world, it is much harder to get away with things like that you said wrong. And I've had like managers follow up with me going like, where's the reference? And I never thought I would hear that after uni. And I remember like even in uni when we were doing debates, I think with Dr. Shamal or Dr. Abdurrahman and all these professors, like they would always, I liked how when we would do debates, they would like ask us follow-up questions and like kind of keep asking us questions so that like it looks like we know what we're talking about. That's so important, because sometimes if you seem like you don't know what you're talking about or you don't believe what you're talking about, then you're an easy target. So be super confident and have enough information that even if people ask you 10 follow-up questions, answer that, just like you would in these debates and so on. And another thing that I found really useful from being an international relations student again is the fact that we know that we all come from very different backgrounds. And I remember in class we used to be really respectful of before we said something, we would think, okay, but this person, might have experienced something really, maybe we shouldn't say this, and even our professors, they would say, like, if they saw a discussion going beyond a certain line where it might offend someone, they would stop it somehow. They would be like, okay, guys, let's dial it down. Like, we don't have to go there. That's very important out in the workplace, because you would meet people from all different, much more than you would in uni. And you, trust me, you don't want to offend anyone. Like, you don't want to offend the wrong person. So just be really, really careful of what you're saying. So yeah, Alia, I don't know what you would want to add to that.
Wallahi, Fatma, you made it hard for me, but I'll try to address something new. So based on my experience, and I work for HSBC, so it's a global graduate program, not just the graduates, even the whole environment or the working environment. We have like over 60 nationalities within HSBC. So we embrace our diversity and inclusion kind of culture. So this is one. Number two, I would say public speaking. So if I would see myself as a graduate of University of Sharjah, the program International Relations in specific, I would see that even if I'm not into banking, even if I'm not into finance, economy, and so on, I can still relate. I can still relate in terms of management. I can still relate in terms of analysis, in terms of culture, governance, and so on and so forth. So even the way I pitch my ideas, the way we stand out, we challenge, we debate, just like Fatma said, it definitely helps us in our day-to-day job. Number two is questions. I think when we were in uni, we used to ask questions, and our professors used to encourage us to raise questions. And I remember Dr. Abdurrahman, you used to say, there is no something called stupid questions, so raise questions. So yes, we now, even in meetings with senior leaders, when I don't know what this acronym stands for, or if I don't know what this terminologies refer for, or whatever, so I ask questions, and I just feel very normal. I feel it's okay to ask questions. I have no 1% of discourage to ask the questions. And then critical thinking. I think I always, I don't know if you guys met Dr. Paula. I think Mariam Fatma knows. So Dr. Paula was one of the professors from whom I learned how to critically think, how to structure, outline my ideas, how can I pitch a good proposal. So these kind of thinking, the way of thinking or the style of thinking is something that I learned from her, and it helps me a lot. Yani it's not something that you would come to senior leaders and say, you know what, I think this idea is good, and khalas, and you expect them to just buy in your idea because it's a fresh idea, it's a new idea, and you think it's something good. La. So what I learned from Dr. Paula is that what's the background of this? What sort of change will it do? What impact will it have? What value will it add? Not only to the organization, not only to the ways of operations and business working and so on, what will it add to the community, the customer? So it's a kind of a holistic kind of analysis towards whatever you're gonna, towards whatever you're gonna propose. And finally is culture. So again, we studied in a class where we had people from different countries, different world, areas of the world, and the culture that we have is just to speak up culture. I think this is something very much needed, specifically with our strategies here in UAE towards the smart city. Everything is becoming virtual. We can connect anytime, anywhere through virtual means and speak, and this kind of culture would actually open doors to many opportunities towards many learnings and so on and so forth. Yes.
Thank you so much, Alia and Fatma, for your advice, and I hope that you answered Dr. Abdurrahman's question appropriately according to his standards. I think the questions in the chat box are piling up. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to go back and forth one by one between the speakers and the questions. So one of the questions is from Mariam Al Naqbi, where she said, "Thank you all. I just want to ask, what was the most difficult thing after graduation, and how do we overcome it as a first step?" I think this is addressed to both speakers, so if you want to take turns.
Fatma, I know your struggles, but you go ahead. Go ahead.
That's such a hard question. What was the most difficult thing after graduation? This is I don't even I don't want to be like, oh, everything's so hard and like, this is the worst thing that could possibly happen. It's just that when you graduate, you are confronted with the fact that things are no more going to be handed down to you. And I'm not saying that you owe us hands down everything to us, which is not the truth at all, because we all have struggled in our third years to find our internships. So like, I'm not gonna, get into that. But you really have to get out of your comfort zone in the worst way. Like it feels like as if you're taking your dignity and you're placing it in front of an employer. And I remember like, even when I want to say, someone asked like something related to like interviews and things like that. Please do not be ashamed to just be yourself, because in the job that I'm working right now, I remember giving an interview to one of the people, and he looked at my resume and he said that, "Oh, Fatma, like you have such a nice resume. It's like so straight to the point and concise and precise." And I literally told him, I was like, "It's concise because there's nothing to show yet." And I can't believe I said that to him. Like after I finished saying, I was like, why would I say that? Like, that's the worst possible thing to say. But then they found humor in that, and just like, be yourself, be vulnerable, be like, just ask whatever you want to ask, say whatever you want to say. And that is hard. Like being yourself, that's the hardest thing, because you feel like so humiliated by the fact, and you feel like as if you're asking for something that you don't deserve, which is not true. If you have worked hard enough, then you deserve whatever is coming your way. So just, I guess for me, that was like when I would reach out to people on LinkedIn and things like that, like I would just feel so difficult, like in my heart. Like, and what Alia said about like WASTA and things like, I was not even going to bring it up, but thank you. And depression is real. And I want to say that, like, you're going to get really frustrated by the fact that things are really unfair. Like sometimes the people will get jobs that they might not deserve, and you would have been much better at that job. And you will watch these types of things happen out in the real world, where, oh, you work hard and you get the grade you deserve, and if another person doesn't work hard, they don't get that. It's not as fair. In the real world, people get jobs they don't deserve, you don't get the jobs that you deserve. This is how it is. Life is like this. But you can't spend your energy being angry about that, because then that's all there will be to life. So yeah, just facing reality is the most difficult thing to answer that question.
Thank you, guys. I hope you answered her question. The next one, I'm gonna go to the speakers. Shayma, it says iPhone.
Yes,
Shayma.
yes, hello. Hello, everyone. Happy Ramadan for you all. I just want to ask a small question for all the speakers. So in future, if they offered for me 2 jobs, both of them have the same potential, both of them are so good for me. How do I know which one of them I should choose, or what are the things that can help me to make my decision? Thank you.
Okay, so I would address this question because I had a dilemma between choosing many offers. So when I graduated, I had an offer from I don't know what it's called in English, to be honest, بس الهجرة شؤون الجوازات or something like that. يعني الهجرة بمعنى. I don't know what's الهجرة. I think it's not customs. Riman, you need to help me.
Immigration.
Yeah, immigration.
Yeah, immigration, something like that. Yeah. So I had an offer from there, and the title was something very, very, very nice. It was like something in governance and policy execution and so on and so forth. And then I had this offer in HSBC, which is you would stay in a global graduate program for 2 years, and your title would be global graduate trainee for 2 years, which gives you trainings, skills, many empowerment sort of means of empowerment, let's say. And then I had these 2 offers. So it depends, Shaima, on what you want. Do you want a place with a name? Do you want learning? Do you want experience? Do you want international outreach? Do you think of moving one day abroad and pursuing your career and having مثلا a higher degree abroad in UK? So it depends, where do you want? So for me, I know my path. At the beginning, I didn't know. I was in a state of unknown that I didn't even enjoy at all. It was my mom, it was my mentor who guided me and saying, go for this, because you never know if this destination or this stop would bridge you towards something else. Okay. Now with COVID, you would always hear about technology. You would always hear about investments, wealth management. You would hear much about medicine. You would hear much about everything, technology, economy, investments, wealth. So the world is all about this sector, let's say. Okay, but it depends on what you want. Is it, when you say potential, what do you mean by potential? If Shaima can speak back so I can help her. She's
Yes,
on.
hi. I mean, like, have the same things, like have the same salary, or how can I explain it for you? Like, both of them so good. Yani, I can't say no for it.
Both of them. And then, is it like the same sector, private, public sector? Well, it's the same sector. It's banking.
Yeah, I mean that.
You need to read about the organization, read about the reputation. How big are they? What standards do they follow? Is it global standards? فمعناته you're gonna have more experience in terms of the compliance covered, in terms of how big are they? Is it مثلا, for example, is it a local bank, or is it a regional, or is it global? This adds something else. What role will you do? How will you contribute to the organization? I think at the beginning, this is an advice for everyone over here. Don't think of salary wise as something to consider. Okay, I know salary positions are something very important. I know this is life in 2021, but you need to consider, what will you learn? If I'm Alia, a graduate in 2019, going to مثلا the PMO directly with WASTA, do you think I'll maintain and retain over there? Will I be able to sit on that table and counter argue, answer, do this? It would be tough on me, being not well experienced, having not that much of knowledge, you know. But imagine me after 5 years going to a PMO with my international organization experience, having my rotations, having my short-term assignment, doing this and that. You know, it would be different. يعني the CISO would be 100% different. I think, Shaima, you need to think, what do you want? Is it knowledge? Is it experience? But if you want to compare, both are good. Read about the organizations. Look, what does the country do with this organization? Does it contribute to the country? Does it add value? What things do they do towards sustainability? Because it's something not only UAE, even US, like everything is green policy and things like that. So look at the strategies in 5-10 years. What do they want to do? So you know where you're going, you know?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
صلي استخارة. They said pray استخارة. So yeah, صلي استخارة.
Okay, thank you. We have a question for Fatma Mariam, which says, what was the most challenging part of your experience, I guess, and how was the job interviews? What is the most important thing to say, I guess, in your opinion, in a job interview?
Everyone wants to keep making me feel sad about the most challenging part. I think I answered this question a little bit earlier on. In terms of interviews, I would really just say to be yourself and don't like script your answers or, you know, what I used to do is whenever I had an interview, the first thing I did was I would look up the person who's interviewing me. So this can be a good thing or a bad thing. It can be a good thing because you know, you look up the person, you learn more about them. What is the kind of work they're into? What are the types of activities they've been up to? LinkedIn is a place to find out about what people are up to. So I had, for instance, so I had an interview with Norma Taki, who's the partner of the PwC firm, which I'm working at right now. So I remember just Googling her, going on LinkedIn, watching a conference that she had done, and just learning more about her. Now, it's a bad thing because once you see like what a great person or like how accomplished they are, that can make you feel kind of scared and anxious because you're like, oh my God, like, oh, they're such a big deal. Or how am I going to perform in this interview? But don't let that derail you because at the end of the day, they know that you just graduated and they know everything about you. They've seen your resume. So you're not hiding anything. So look up the person, look up your job role, like look up what the company, for instance, I'm working as an inclusion and diversity training developer at this firm. So what I did was I just did research on what was going on at PwC at that time in terms of inclusion and diversity. So I would look up what are the kinds of events they've had, what are the things they're interested in doing in the future. You'd find a lot of information on this stuff from even the company website. So do a lot of research before the interview and don't script it too much because then you'll get stuck because you'll be like, oh, what was I supposed to say? And it's like, you'll just get stuck. So don't do that. And prepare a list of questions that you want to ask. Because in the end of every interview, usually the employer will ask you, okay, now do you have any questions for me? Don't be that person who's like, oh yeah, no, I know everything that I need to know, because you don't. You're supposed to have questions and they need to feel like you actually care about this interview and you actually care about this job. So have questions. Don't be embarrassed to ask about salary. This is a very, something that I struggled with. I never used to want to ask about the salary or the start date and things like that. But then quickly I learned that that's something they expect. If they're doing an interview with you, they expect you'll be asking these questions. So ask about the salary, ask about expected start, tell them what you're up to, tell them how much notice you might need if you want to join. These are just like some random things that's coming to my mind.
Thank you so much. We have a hand raised by Ali Abdul Karim, if she would like to speak.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Assalamu alaikum. I just have a question. It can be directed to both of you. It's about after graduation, how did you write your CV or resume? Did you struggle with it? And what advice would you give to be like direct but not confusing when writing a resume? And plus, I'm not really good at handling rejection. How are you like able to handle rejection from a lot of places? That's what I'm wondering. Like, how are you able, like, because if they're gonna reject you, you're gonna self-doubt yourself, and whatever you did would confuse you, like what you did was wrong. So how are you able to pick up your shortcomings and aim for another job? Or maybe would you like go back to the same company or same organization and apply again? So I don't think I'll have the confidence of applying again, but I wonder if any of you like tried to apply again to the job if you wanted it very badly. That's my question.
Okay, shukran Ali. I would address this question and then Fatma just help me if I struggled. Okay, so regarding the first question of CV, I would say there are many online resources available. Just Google and you'll find 100%. If it's not online resources, go to LinkedIn, and there are courses given by LinkedIn to kind of how do you build your CV and so on and so forth. This is one. Number two, YouTube can help you. It's very easy. It's very basic. You can do that. Number three, you can use templates, ready-made templates that are available in Google, and then you can just follow the same format. If you want to have something that you fill up like a form or something, you can go to Canvas. I think Canva or Canvas. I can't remember the name of the website, and they do have very nice infographical sort of CVs that you can just edit, download, and you keep it for yourself. So these are 3-4 solutions that I gave. But for me, I was very old fashioned that I just wrote my name and then I just looked into samples and I just finished it. Yani filled it up that way. The next question you asked about is how do you handle rejection? So Ali, the amount of applications that I applied was nothing towards the rejection. Like I used to apply for jobs that I even forgot where did I used to sit in the place in the organization with people and then I'd be like, where did you see this ad? Where did you see this career or this role announced? And they'd be like, why are you asking this question? I would reply saying, wallahi, I don't remember where did I apply this. And is it through Instagram? Is it through a website? Is it through LinkedIn? Career fair? I can't remember. So even if you get rejected, sometimes you don't know why is the reason. ليش they rejected me? What's the reasons? Is it because of my experience? Is it because of I lack the knowledge in this field? So there are various reasons. You don't know. Sometimes even the organization itself, it just announced I have this number of roles. But at the end, they recruit someone from internal just to short cost cut, or you don't know the reasons. But I would say be stubborn. And when I say be stubborn in a good way. And you believe in yourself. And regardless, yes, I didn't have the wasta. I didn't go speak to my uncle or speak to my dad or speak to my, no, I applied for the job and I went. And even Fatma, remember Fatma, when we had a discussion on terms of jobs and go for this internship, we helped each other out, and subhanallah, it ended up both of us working in the private sector. So my advice, I'm an advocate of this, go for a private sector. It's easy, but it's hard in terms of meeting the standards, keeping it up. I think even the wasta kind of thing is not much over there. Personal view, but I feel like the private sector is a trend now. Even after COVID, the correlation or the bridge between public and private sector is being more and more, and I think it's the future. Okay, and even if you would feel you would feel hard, like for a person who would score A's and who would be a top 10 in school and then highest honors, and then you expect everything like a La La Land or Utopia. Reality is not like that. Yani for me, I was very depressed. I had extreme depression that I used to say I won't speak. I stopped talking to at home. I didn't speak to my mom. وخلاص, I have no dream. This paper is nothing. My CV is nice, but nothing. Drama queen I was, yes. But okay, I'm here now. I'm very happy. I know I can pursue my career with exactly where I want to go. So whatever option you would receive as yes, we want you, rethink, read about the organization, consult with your family, professors, come back. Yani I'm still in contact with Dr. Paula, Dr. Shaymal, I'm in good contact. So I go back, consult with them, advice. What do you think of this? What do you think of that? Even I'm doing my master's at the moment. I came back consulting them. Do you think this is a good program? Do you think it's fit in whatever I learned previously? So I would say speak, reach out to people, hear from them, and then go ahead. But rejection is nothing. I think you're more stronger than a rejection, which you don't know why it came. So this is my answer, ya Alia. I hope it helped. I hope.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, so for our next question is from Fatma Al-Husseini, where she says, my question is for all of the speakers. What do you think is the best place to do my internship? I'm confused between more than one place. I think this question needs to be a little more specific regarding to like what sector you want to focus on, I guess, like, and what are the standards. But I think Adia did discuss something along the lines of like, what are you looking for regarding in an internship? If there's anything you guys would like to add, like any tips of advice?
I guess I would say to just go for whatever internship. I don't know if this person has 2 offers, like wait, but if you do, then just go for what you think would be most useful to whatever you want to do in the future. So for instance, like when I was in my 3rd year and when I was young and stupid, I thought that I was going to eventually work in hopefully in an international like organization, like an NGO or something like that. So I did specifically seek out those opportunities, and alhamdulillah, I did end up working in World Green Economy Organization, which was an NGO. But the thing is, things change, and like eventually, like life goes this way and that way. But yeah, go with whatever you think is going to be most useful for you. I think Alia touched upon this when she was speaking. And also, I feel like go with how you feel during the interview. This is something that I really believe in, because at the end of the day, no matter how great your salary is and how great the name of the company is, if you're not happy with the people and the culture at your organization, you're just going to be straight up depressed. Like, it's not going to give you any satisfaction if you don't like the people that you're working with and if you don't like the culture of the work environment. So you get a feel of that when you're interviewed. So go with that. Yeah, I guess I would go with that, is what I'm saying.
Thank you. And now we have a question by Mariam Al-Khouri, if you would like to speak now.
Yes, hi everyone again. I have a question to all the speakers. Do you recommend for us, like, as you know, we will be doing internship during our 4 years in uni. Do you recommend for us after that doing any academic program in order to help us more?
When you say academic program, do you mean like what in specific, like a certification in a specific?
Yeah, any like training program in order like to help us more other than like the internship.
Okay, so I would say if you go for it, even I think someone asked the same question regarding certifications, exercise skills, or volunteering. I believe, me personally, I think that whatever training, learning, workshop, certification that you would acquire, it's something that you would add weight to your CV. So you're a person who is passionate about, for example, etiquette and protocols, let's say. Many people don't take these kind of courses seriously, but business etiquettes and protocols are something relevant and are something that people would say, okay, wow, you did this and you did that. I took a course in it's a master class in public speaking, for example. Even though in uni we learned that, we learned how to speak. We had presentations, we had debates, we had many sort of assessments that would require you to stand up and have this sort of skill. But I had a master class in public speaking and so on. So if you would go and if you want to add it to your CV, that's something nice. There are many resources available as well now online, from Oxford, from Harvard, from London Schools of Economy. There are many things. So I would say, depending on what you want, depending on the organizations that you're looking for, maybe you can go for, let's say 4 or 5, I don't know, courses that you would like. But I think it's something that you need to decide based on your wish, based on your needs, based on the areas of development that you want to fulfill. So it depends on that.
Thank you so much. We have another question. Okay, it's by Hessa, where she says, frankly, I'm afraid in terms of free time that I will face after I finish my bachelor's degree, by virtue of which I am a person who does not like free time. What should I do to overcome it, to overcome these kinds of fears? And what would you advise me in this case?
I want to answer this. So, as we have already discussed, I graduated into the pandemic, and which meant that I had a whole lot of free time, which I did not ask for, I did not expect to have. And in fact, I did not want free time so much. What was the name of this person who asked the question? I'm so sorry, I missed it.
I guess.
Sorry?
Yeah, Hissa, maybe.
Hissa, I hate free time so much that I started applying for jobs a good 3 to 4 months before I even graduated. Like probably in the beginning of my last semester, I'm like, khalas, I'm going to start applying for jobs because I don't want any free time. Like, I want it to be like I graduate and I start my job. So this was me. And also, of course, I wanted to do it just even to be just financially independent and so on. But I hated free time so much, and that's exactly what happened. And sometimes these are the things that like push you to grow. And I want to say, this is something that I was speaking about earlier as well. Don't think that the only way you can stay engaged is by finding a job or by going for further studies. If you have free time, for instance, we are waiting for like your university applications to be accepted, or you're waiting to hear back on a job offer, or you're waiting to have interviews, or whatever it is. If you do have free time in that time, like stay engaged through whatever, like even if it is just by going out or like being with friends or taking up classes for like swimming or whatever it is. I used to like go for like sports and things like that. I actually, you have to actually cherish that time because you'll probably never get that time again. And I started doing things that I was not able to do before. Like me and a couple of friends, we started a mental health support group. We had like speakers come and speak to people of our age about like anxiety and graduating in a time of pandemic. We did so many things in that time, and now when I look back, I'm like, I'm so grateful, alhamdulillah, that I did that, because now I don't have time for anything. Like I have zero time for myself, and it's like so depressing. Like it's like I work, I finish work, and then it's the next day, and it's like after I'm done with work, I'm stressing about the next day at work. So it's like there's no time at all. So as much as you hate it, don't have the free time. Try to fill the free time with things other than work and studies. So like anything that you're passionate about, whatever it is that you can do it, is my advice.
Okay, thank you, Fatma. We have another question. It's by Asma, where she says, I have another question. Have you decided to complete studying, in quotations, master's? As you know, there's no international relations. So did you guys switch to other universities or other majors? I think what she means, there's no international relations master's in University of Sharjah, I believe. So who would like to take this question? I think Alia?
Yeah, I will. So again, it depends. I don't know who's the person, but it depends on what you want. Do you want a vertical or a horizontal kind of knowledge? Do you want to go in depth more and more into IR? So you would go for a master of IR, whether it's University of Sharjah or wherever the university is, or do you want to spread and have like a broad kind of knowledge? I know something from IR, I know something from strategy, I know something. That depends on your aim or your, like, what's the purpose? Do you want just the title, or the knowledge, or the way you want to define your knowledge that you want to acquire? So for me, I went to Masters of Strategic Leadership, and it's in Abu Dhabi University. Now it's held, everything is held virtually, and I think with COVID, thanks to COVID, most of the programs are available virtually. So even if you would go for something international, you would be able to kind of join and study through virtual means by default. However, I would just want to quickly speak about my dilemma when I chose what to study. So initially, I used to think previously, in 1 year, 2 years back, I used to say I want to go abroad and learn, have my master's in public policies, governance and public policies. And when I joined the bank, my role was culture and governance. Okay, so it touches upon people, strategy, leadership, and engagement with people. And it touches as well with governance, reports, compliance, controls. And this was dealt with regulators in the UAE, the DFSA, the central bank, and so on and so forth. So my role had both. It had the culture and the governance bit of it. So when I started my job, I used to always sit in a meeting with my manager and the team. And whenever they say something with culture, with engagement, with people, leadership, you would see me flourish, and I would jump on the table saying, I want to do this. Like, I can't imagine that I did it subconsciously. When it's something with governance policies, I used to sit quiet and I used to say, okay, I can do it, I can support, but you won't see me like dying to work on that thing. So my conclusion of this, sometimes when you assume that you want something, saying I want to do this, I want to do that, but if you rethink, does this serve me? Does this meets my passion, my long-term goals? Is it something that I enjoy? Because if you don't enjoy it and you don't have the passion and you just want to tick the box, I don't think that would fulfill the purpose of learning and putting the effort of time, energy, and so on and so forth. So you need to think of all of this and then decide what program do you want, why do you want that thing, where do you want it, based on the circumstances that you would have, be it COVID, be it a local or a local government, whether it's a private or a public university in the country or abroad, it depends. So this is my answer. So now I'm studying Master of Strategic Leadership and I'm enjoying it, even though I'm the youngest student in that class. Yes, this is my answer.
Thank you so much. I think we have like one more question. Yes. So it's from Fatma, where she says, what exercises or skills should we practice after graduation? For example, some people go to training in certain centers or volunteer for us, IR students, but what should we do more than that? More than taking like programs or volunteership? Anyone?
Alia, I think you should take this one because I feel like I haven't really done anything.
It depends. Again, I think I spoke about trainings as well. It adds to your CV again, 100%. But you need to be selective. Maybe if it's something, يعني for me, if I went back and then if I rethought what should I add, I would go for something in data and because it's something that would serve the trend nowadays. So maybe you can see what's all over the place. Is it something with virtual collaboration, how to build a virtual collaboration, how to build partnerships virtually. So think of the current situation, what does it needs? And then go and invest in your learning and your time, energy, blah, 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 and everything. Don't just go and just choose something that serve you.
I recently found out that now I don't have the time for it anymore, but like a lot of really prestigious universities like LSE and Cambridge and Oxford, Harvard, and so on are doing these really great short courses online. And quite interesting as well because they have a wide variety, like what you could probably find it on their list. So just try LSE, Cambridge, Oxford, Harvard, and yeah, these universities. They have some really brilliant online courses if you have the time for it.
Yes, I actually agree with that. Like, especially during the pandemic, I think there was a lot of courses that were offered to students for free to take and by like Ivy League universities. So yeah, I would encourage these too if they, follow through with your objectives after you graduate. Oh, we have a question. I have a question for all the graduate students. What is your advice to students who are now studying at Sharjah University in the study of international relations? How did you succeed? I think this question is an overarching question that shadows everything we discussed throughout this entire seminar. So I don't know if you would like to specify a little bit more because we discussed everything about this question.
I would say just be closer to your professors, ask questions, consult, advise. We are very lucky to have such professors. If you compare our professors to professors in other universities, you will say, Allahumma lak alhamd, يعني, alhamdulillah, like my experience with previous professors and the current, يعني, almost everyone over here, I've met them and they've taught, if not me, my colleagues. It's like, you're gonna stay for 4 years maximum in this university. Take the best out of them. Yani, there are people who came from abroad, they studied, they had their degrees, they went through career experience and then back into academia. So learn from them, go to the office, hear from them, not wallahi just for the assignment or for the final or what sort of questions just to get the degree or just to score an A or B plus and will I خلاص whether I'll pass or I'm meeting the margin. No, think beyond that, because this would add to your intellectual capabilities and this would serve you 100% lifetime. So enjoy the moment, learn, ask questions. I would say be a friend of your professors, because I believe two people would wish the best for you. It's your parents, it's your teacher or your professor, because they would want you to see you at the top. So this is my advice to that question, I would say.
Okay, I think we've reached the end of our seminar, but before I conclude, Dr. Shirko said that he would like to give some advice of his own. So Dr. Shirko, if you're here.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. First of all, I just would like to thank Maryam, Nof, and Alia, and all what they said was very, very interesting, especially the last bit what Alia said about please come to our office not only for grades, for marks, but to learn from our experience. And this is very, very important. So thank you. Thank you. I just would like to say that make one comment about rejection. I mean, yes, you will get rejections. So you have to take this into account. But I have been told previously that the more rejections you get, the closer you get to the yes. So remember that. The more rejections you get, the closer. Means that please apply as much as possible. Okay, that's one thing. Second thing, I just would like to say that at this stage of your life, it is not what you want to do, but rather what you get. So early in your career, please just try, if you find a job that makes you slightly happy, just take it. Don't say that, no, I don't want to do that, because that will add to your resume, to your experience, and then you can go. And sometimes you're rejected because of your assessment, but your assessment probably totally wrong. You don't know the full background of this organization. So please don't be picky at this stage. Just take whatever it comes. And the other thing is that we already, the speakers talked about that, how broad our experience graduates from the IR major is. I mean, you probably think that what you learned, especially the knowledge that you gain, that is not what you need to highlight it in your resume, but rather the other things, the other skills that the speakers talked about. Skills of analyzing, problem solving, writing skills, constructing arguments, persuasive language. These are the things that the employers look for. They're not looking for that for whether you know when's the Syrian crisis happened or what's happened during the Syrian crisis. Nobody, I'm sorry to say that, but nobody cares too much about these things. Okay, this is, but it's more important that why Syrian crisis happened, and that is where you transfer these kind of skills into any kind of jobs. So please do not put yourself, because you gained enormous amount of skills. You need to say them during your interviews, and you need to highlight them in your resume. And thank you very much again to Alia, Mariam, Fatima, Mariam, and Nov, and thank you everybody who participated in this. Good luck.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sherko, for your advice. Like personally, I'm going through that right now, where the concept of rejection is, inevitable wherever you're going, regardless of whether it's like a complete rejection or, sub-rejection for something. And I think a lot of people benefited here, and I'm really happy and proud of the participation that we had in today's event. I'm like, I feel like a lot of people felt like this is something that they can address their personal fears in, or like start to plan for their future. So I'm glad that you guys enjoyed it, and it sort of helps us, establish future events on like what interests the students. So hopefully we'll have more workshops or seminars that are associated with things that interest you. Thank you all for coming, and thank you for participating, and I hope you have a good rest of the day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.